Welcome back to a one-of-a-kind muscle car. At this point I'd usually say how you unlock it, but this is currently available via the message center and via your gifted cars, which hopefully you should see on screen now. I know, Forza being generous. So this is the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Super Sport Coupe Forza Edition. It has 525 brake horsepower, 486 foot-pounds of torque, and weighs a whopping 3,307 pounds with a 6.16 litre engine. Now you might notice it has a little bit of a design on, and this was put there by Forza themselves because this was apparently created in collaboration with a shoe brand. Oh, very interesting indeed. It does look pretty cool indeed, and we've also got a few custom logos as well as the Forza Edition license plate at the back, and this absolutely beautiful wide body kit with tyres that even have tyre writing on the side. It is honestly fantastic. Going to the inside, there's even a little logo down there as well, because this is the Jordan Luka 3 Motorsport Special. It's got a very long name, but they've abbreviated it to Coupe Forza Edition just for I guess ease of saying it. Anyway, on the inside we've got ourselves what looks to be a little bit of a roll cage and a very nice sort of I guess center console and dash. And honestly, it does look pretty cool. And now let's go ahead and take a listen. So here we are now in the upgrade shop. The first thing we're doing is going straight to conversion. There's no engine swaps for this thing, but we can go ahead and make this thing all-wheel drive, which we will be doing in just a little bit. And we can also go ahead and either twin turbo or supercharge this thing. Now you might notice there is no category for aero, which is well, pretty obvious given the car. But for tyres, we start out, I believe, on sport tyres. Not bad. Another cool thing I want to point out on this car before we go any further is the little Air Jordans logo on the back, because that is the shoe brand this car was created in collaboration with. Now this car is A-class stock, which is very interesting, and so we're going to go ahead and take it for a little bit of a race just as it is. How well this is going to go, I have no idea. But of course, before we do that, let's have a look at the paints quickly. There's nothing in the advanced painting options, which is a bit sad. And there's also only one manufacturer paint color. And the other sad thing is, if you want to paint the car yourself, it removes the fancier little window decal, which is honestly a bit of a shame. I really wish that this was honestly, I guess, like an option that we could have ourselves to go ahead and put decals and stuff on the windows. It'd be so cool. Honestly, the day we get that, I'm going to celebrate. Okay, so a cool thing before we jump into the race quickly is apparently this one is recommended for the race we're doing. So let's see how good it really is. Now, as far as I'm aware, we don't have this wide body for the, I guess, the regular version of the Camaro Sport Coupe, which would be very nice, honestly, to have in the game. It would be absolutely incredible. So Forza devs, if you happen to have a chance to add this to the actual car that we have in the game already, that would be ideal. Well, I mean, unless it's already there, and then I've just made myself sound like a massive fool. And away we go. We are once again up against 11 other cars, and we've got to try and bring this thing out on top, which is going to be a very tricky, considering we are also up against a couple of other Forza Edition vehicles. So hopefully I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that we're going to be able to make it up to first place. Considering we're now in fourth this early on in the race, honestly, that might be possible. Okay, make that second. And on the brakes, come on, can we get past the inside of first? We can, and only just a slight hit off the wall. Now, I don't really have a price to tell you about this thing, because this car technically doesn't exist. So I guess the next best thing I can do is tell you the prices of the shoes associated with this car, which are the Jordan Luka 3s, as is to do with the name on the window and the nickname of this car. Now, bear in mind, these are just regular shoes. They are £120 sterling. Who would pay that much for a shoe? And to think, I was complaining about ones I bought for 12 quid. Anyway, we've got a race to win. 95% to go. One more turn. Through we go, through the last checkpoint. And any second, across the line we go. With a very nice and well-deserved first place. And a time of 2 minutes and 8. So as it turns out, that was actually a very interesting race. Now, Mac usually provides us with some drag tunes, but he's not done that for this car because instead he's made something very special, of which we'll get to a bit later on. So in the meantime, the drag tune has been left to us, which should get very interesting very quickly. And speaking of things getting interesting very quickly, there's no way to upgrade the tyre size of this. Okay, do you want anti-lag? I think that's a yes. And of course, off-road springs and dampers, because those are definitely going to come in useful. So after some upgrading, we're now here at 3,541 pounds in weight with 1,115 brake horsepower. This is going to get interesting. And by interesting, I mean mildly concerning. Now the interesting bit is I've got to go ahead and tune a drag build, which I've not done in a very long time. So this could get very interesting very quickly. Although a good thing on this is apparently the aero is tunable, so we're going to go ahead and drop that all the way down to speed. So after an unhealthy amount of tuning later, let's go ahead and see. Do we have a wheelie check? Do we? Nope, nothing this time. That's a shame. Okay, here we are now over at the edge of the drag strip. We're on launch control, and away we go with the Jordan Luka 3 Motorsports Edition Chevrolet Camaro Super Sport Coupe Forza Edition. That is a very, very long name. Wow. Okay, anyway, 1,000 brake horsepower. Let's go ahead and see through the camera at 183 miles an hour, and off the edge of the runway it's 205. And as per tradition, this thing is not stopping. And this time, that's a bad thing. So that was very, very interesting indeed. Now we're back over at the upgrade shop once again, and we're going to go ahead and throw this thing over to some rather fancy looking semi-slick tyres. And we're also going to go ahead and put this back onto stock suspension, which I believe might have been race suspension to start with, and just look at how low this car is. It's fantastic. Well, that's just rude. Well, apparently it kept the tuning anyway, so we're going to go ahead and mess with the gears just a little bit and a little bit with the suspension, and then we're going to go for a bit of a top speed run. And now it's time for everybody's favourite game of how close can I get to the motorway greats. Hopefully I've got it right, because last time I did this we were nearly there. We had our front wheels just a bit behind. Let's see, are we there this time? I think we might have missed it, and yeah, we definitely missed it. We got so close last week and so far this week. Anyway, here we are now over at the edge of the motorway. Let's get ourselves back onto launch control, and away we go with the Luka 3. Let's go ahead and see what sort of speed we get out of this. And then I'm hoping it's going to be a good one, because we've got over 1,000 brake horsepower, but this thing is also a very, very heavy, with no signs of being able to make this thing any lighter at all. You'd have thought they'd have included race weight reduction for this, but apparently not. And out of the speed zone at 233.24, we still have the downhill and the speed camera to go, so let's go ahead, get there and see what top speed we get out of this thing. Through the camera at 242.79, we are still going downhill, 246, 247, 248, do we get any more? No, just 248, which is honestly pretty good out of this thing, considering how blimmin' hefty it is. This thing is a very, very, very heavy car, but for it to be able to still get 248, that's good. Now, remember earlier where I said Mac had prepared something special for us? Well, here it is. It is our very own Gymkhana tunes to take to the Drift Zone. There is the share code for it. Feel free to go ahead and grab that tune for yourself. And I'm going to do that now. Or rather, I'm going to get it and hope that my game doesn't crash. So with that tune installed, we are now at £3,481, a lot lighter, but we are just a shade under 1,000 brake horsepower, so let's go ahead and see just how good this tune is. Okay, so let's go ahead and see just how good this tune is. We're going to throw this thing in to our local favourite Drift Zone and go ahead and see how many points we can get out of this thing. We are very, very sideways. We're kind of off the circuit at the moment, which is not great. But going out of that side, we've got 32,100 and something before it disappeared off screen. Not bad, but I think we can do better. Although first, I think we're going to make a couple of quick upgrades. Alright, I think that should be a good amount of upgrades. In case you're wondering why it said A-Class, I had to reset the car back to default tunings so I could go and retune it again. Man, that's confusing. Well, as it turns out, it's taking us a little longer to do some modifications due to the fact it is now raining, but we've got 32,000 to beat, so let's go ahead and see what do we get out the other side. 34,969 points. Not bad. Some would argue it's actually pretty nice. I'm sure if you know what you're doing, you can make this thing a lot better, but I just had to quickly scramble something together for this video. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you want to pick this thing up for yourself, you don't have to do any extra work. It is free in your message center under the gift tab. And yeah, it's honestly still pretty good. It's worth getting, especially if it can land a first place in A-Class on sports tyres with over 500 brake horsepower. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'll go ahead and see you all in the next one. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Tech out. See ya! This thing's fun, you know.